Welcome to Learning Excel with Dr. Ted.
Hi there, in this video demonstration, we will go through how to create a pivot table. So here we have a list of employees in column A through column F. In column A, we have the name of the employee. In column B, we have the gender. In column C, we have the branch of the organization which they belong to. We have the salary of the employee, the age, and then the tenure with the company. So to go ahead and create a pivot table, we can do so by finding the pivot table in the ribbon under Insert, Pivot Table. You'll see the option from Table and Range. We're going to go ahead and select this one because we're embedding a table within our workbook. So go ahead and press that. From this point, you then see the options already selected from employees A1 all the way down to F24 for all of those selected. We can go ahead and at this point, say we want to put this in new worksheet, go ahead and press OK. At this point, a pivot table fields has been presented for us. You'll see each of these respective column titles being presented for us. Just to illustrate how to create a pivot table, you'll notice that we are going to drag fields between the areas below. We have the filter, we have the columns, the rows, and the values. So let's go ahead and drag in this particular pivot table, the gender in the rows, and then let's go ahead in the columns to go ahead and drag in the branch. So we have the rows representative of the genders presented of female and male. And then we have the headquarters and satellite in this particular table. We now, if we want to go ahead and drag in the salary of the employees, we could do so just by example here. Let's go ahead and drag the salaries into the values. And you'll see the sum of the salaries for the females and for the males across the headquarters and satellite branch for our organization. For this particular pivot table, it may make more sense rather than having the sum of salary, we may want to change this to the average salary presented in each of these respective locations. To do so, select the down arrow right here, select the value field settings, and go ahead and change the value to average. If you select the average OK, you then have the average of the respective salaries for females and males across your headquarters and the satellite branch. One thing that's really cool about pivot tables, particularly this one an example, is just by quickly dragging and dropping values, you can see very quickly, the average salary for those sample of employees here who work at the headquarters is considerably larger at 266,923 compared to 112,000 for those who work at the company outside of the headquarters location. Let's go ahead and create another pivot table just to illustrate the kind of potential with pivot tables. Go back to the worksheet entitled Employees. At this point, we're going to go back to in the home under the ribbon, select Insert, then select Pivot Table again. We're going to go select from from Table dash Range. From that point, you see the option, same thing presented here. We'll go ahead and put this in a new worksheet. You can go ahead and press OK right here. At this one, let's go ahead and select for our particular pivot table. We're going to do a similar dynamic of what we had before. Let's go ahead and drag in the branch and the rows. And then let's go ahead and drag in the gender in the columns. And then let's go ahead and drag in the age in the values. Again, for the values here, it may make more sense to change the value field setting. Instead of the sum of the age, let's change this to the value field setting of the average of the age. Go ahead and select that. And now we have presented the average age of employees who are at our headquarters location at 47.23, and then those who are at our satellite location of 46.3. You'll note also the ages in terms of those who are females at 47.12, males of 46.66. And as you look at this, you can get a little bit more insights on the organization. One thing, let's go ahead and do one more pivot table. That's really cool about pivot tables. It's just the overall potential that you have as you generate pivot tables. If we want to do a pivot table again, let's go back to Insert, select Pivot Table. From table-range, it already selects column A through F and the values for this already. In Excel, we're going to go ahead and put this in new worksheet. Go ahead and press OK. So let's say in this one, we want to know the total tenure of all the employees who've worked at our organization. To that end, if we wanted to know the total tenure by, in this case, branch, we could drag branch into the rows. So that shows us our satellite and our headquarters. And then we could also go ahead and drag in directly in the values the tenure. And then we see the sum of the tenure right there. If we wanted to break this tenure out a little bit more specifically by the columns, by adding the gender, by dragging it in there, you see the breakout between gender across the headquarters and the satellite. Again, as we navigate and utilize pivot tables more, you'll see the great potential in just dragging and dropping different items of interest, and these variables can provide real insights into your data.
Thank you for watching Learning Excel with Dr. Ted. If you liked what you saw in this video and would like to learn more, subscribe now to our YouTube channel.